I'm just going to wait a couple minutes here and see if some... Hi there. Hi, everybody. Thanks for joining. I'm so looking forward to this. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes for people to pop on, and then I'm going to go ahead and introduce. Hi, Kara. Thanks for joining us. You're going to love this, honey. This is so flow theory. This is like the roots of OT school. When we were both like, this is where we're meant to be. Chicken. I actually practice his name, like with a little metronome work. Mihai, Cheek sent Mihai. Okay, I'm gonna get started. So, to celebrate OT month, I've decided that I'm gonna go ahead and do a series of interviews with people who I think highlight how cool our career is. And how happy I am that I chose this profession, especially for me to help kiddos and their families. So tonight, to kick the series off, I am going to be interviewing a man named Jorge Ochoa, and I'm going to do a proper introduction here so that you guys can understand this man's history and how much he's contributing to our profession, occupational therapy. So, Jorge Ochoa is an occupational therapist and a group drumming facilitator in San Antonio, Texas. He's the founder of TamboRhythms, a company dedicated to promoting functional living through rhythmic expression, regardless of age or previous musical experience, which is awesome. He has facilitated at schools and learning centers, worked with seniors and those with special needs, and has provided adult and community education programs. Clients have included the EVA's Heroes and the Texas Department of Assistive and Rehabilitative Services, Division for Blind Services. He has also served his community by leading free, family-friendly community drum circles. Jorge has appeared in the San Antonio Express News, Our Kids San Antonio, Natural Awakenings, goodness gracious, the Autism Notebook, and Cab Fox News. Jorge is also the creator of Leggy Guide, which may be how I discovered him, which is a handwriting paper. And it's a specialized, I call it a full support paper. I use it a lot in school. So it's full support paper that's used to assist students to improve their overall legibility. So Leggy Guide targets manuscript, formation patterns, sizing, spacing, and horizontal alignment. So I use it a lot for those kiddos who have a difficult time with keeping spaces between their letters, so the spatial awareness kids, and then aligning their letters to the line. So now I'd like to welcome Jorge on. I'm going to, 1 second here. How come? How do I get this to work? Can you? 1 second, I'm sorry, I apologize, guys. New. Can you invite me, Jorge? Here we go. There, we got her now. I'm on it. It usually takes a second or two to kick in.
Wait a minute here. Hey, hello. Let me fix this camera a little bit.
Yeah, sure, I get it.
Yeah, let me move it back.
I'm so excited for this.
Well, thank you for having me. Oops. Still not tall enough.
I know.
I'm sorry about that. I'm gonna have to move it back even more. Hold on.
I've been there a
Debbie,
million
I'm
times.
like, Oh
Yeah.
boy, this thing is really. Let me see here. How's that?
Perfect.
Okay.
Absolutely perfect.
Okay. Awesome.
How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you so much for having me. I am
I am
excited
so
and
happy to have you. I'm so excited to talk about this. I love what you're doing with the drum. It's amazing.
thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah. So, um, I'm just going to start asking a series of questions and, we'll have a casual conversation and talk about all the great stuff that you're doing and how it's helping kids and incorporate a little bit of my experience with the drum as well and how the.
Sounds good.
Okay, cool.
Awesome. Awesome.
So let's talk about when you started drumming and how you got into using drumming in therapy.
Okay. Well, I actually started drumming back in high school. I was in a high school marching band.
Mm-hmm.
And I also, at the
Oh,
age of 19, I started playing the drum set.
cool.
So now when it comes to the hand drumming,
Yeah.
I actually found it by accident. Let's say it was around maybe 2006, 2007. I was on the internet and I was just searching up different things having to do with drumming. Not necessarily hand drumming, not the type of drumming I'm doing now, just like drum set kind of stuff.
Right. Yeah.
And then I came across the world of hand drumming. And I was like, this is so cool. You have all these people that you get in a group, and they do not have to be a musician. And you can get them together, and you can just have a jam session with them, and really
Wow.
just relieve stress and connect. And at the time, I really did not want to be in a band.
Right. Yeah.
So I was like, but I still wanted to play with others. So
Yeah.
I
That's awesome.
really started to look into it. And then I was like, okay, this sounds so cool. So I said, I want to go for it.
So you
So
just fell upon this.
yeah, I felt by accident, right?
Wow. That's amazing.
What I did was that I found a program called the Rhythmic Arts Project,
Okay.
which really and so I took it to my special education director at the district that I worked in at the time,
Mm-hmm.
and I said I would like to ask that you buy this for me. It comes with the DVD, the curriculum, drums, everything, and she bought it for me.
Oh,
And
wow.
so I started going to the special ed life skills room every week throughout the district, and just started drumming with the kids there.
And they loved it.
And that's how it started. And then
Were you
and
amazed when you started using it? Did it just blow your mind a little bit about the potential of how many
well, I
different
just
types
like
of people and walks of life that could
when I
be?
when I first started, of course, everything was an experiment,
Right. Oh,
because
yeah, of
I
course.
didn't know, like, okay,
Yeah.
I knew I started out by saying, okay, this is cool. I like drumming. I want to get people to, in a group together to connect, to bond. And then once I found the Rhythmic Arts Project, once I found that, then I realized, wait a minute, we could apply it, um, the drumming to those that have special needs and really work on different skills through the drum and with percussion as well. A lot of social emotional skills, which is really my big thing now,
Oh, well,
which
that's
I was working
awesome
on
that
that.
you're
Yeah.
doing that. Because I use it in a very different way, right? So we'll
Hmm.
talk about that a little bit more, like the uses in occupational therapy a little later.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I use drumming not so much actually me physically drumming, but
Hmm.
as a support in the background to
Hmm.
help in treatment at times. I've used Boomwhackers. Is that what
Right.
they're called?
Boomwhackers. Yes, that's
I
what they call. Yeah.
you know
I have a couple pairs of those. I use those too.
how when you're a school-based OT, they stick you in all these random places, like you don't like I've traded out of closets before, I swear. Well, at one point I was in a music room.
Hmm.
So I was
And you
using
you
rhythm and
saw them there.
timing and
Yeah.
getting the boom whackers
Hmm.
out and getting, you know what I mean, incorporating it treatment to get motivation and buy-in. Anyway, we can
And
talk about that later.
yeah, we can talk
Um,
about boomwhackers and actually how boomwhackers can support handwriting. We can talk about that too
oh,
later.
cool.
Hmm.
Oh,
Okay.
I'd love to talk about that. That's so cool.
Okay. Hmm.
Okay, so what age groups and populations do you work with?
Okay. Well, when I do the community style drumming,
Yeah.
which is basically anyone of any age can come. Kids, babies, parents, grandparents, everybody can come. Just a
I've
time.
seen videos of you with auditoriums full of people. Like,
yeah, I
all
was,
walks of
that
life,
happened, right,
all
that,
kinds of minds, in participating in these massive community. That's powerful in itself, right?
yes, yes, because you just, I mean, once you get locked into the rhythm and you connect with others, it's just like like how you talked about flowing. It's just
Yeah,
like a
yeah.
flow
That's
and
it.
connection that you get, and you just get caught up in the moment at that time, and that's
Totally. Do
all you
you
care
know
about.
flow theory? Do you know what I'm talking
No,
about?
I do not. I've
Oh
never heard of
my
that.
gosh, you
Yeah.
have to look into flow theory. It's the idea that that moment where like time passes, and
Hmm.
when you find that just right challenge that's so engaging and meaningful for somebody, that you get into this flow experience,
Hmm. Hmm.
and that experience in itself of like being in alignment with your strengths and your weaknesses and being in the moment and being connected is
Hmm.
therapeutic in itself, just actually. And the more that you can facilitate that, it's associated with quality of life. It's massive in positive psychology, it's massive in mental health. It's really cool. It's called flow theory.
Okay,
Anyways,
I'll have to take a look at
book,
that. Awesome.
look it up, you'll love it.
Yeah, I will. Okay,
Yeah.
awesome.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. Okay, so you're doing all ages.
At the community
Different.
drum circle. Yeah,
Okay.
whenever I do an event that's geared towards anyone and everyone. Yeah.
Okay, and then
Yeah.
and then what other ages and what other populations?
So with I also, okay, so I do right now, it's virtual because of the pandemic, of course,
Right.
but right now I'm doing work with the Down Syndrome Association
That's awesome.
down here, and also now Eva's Heroes. That's also for those with special needs. You have to
Yeah.
be 14 years old and older,
Okay.
and it was founded by Eva Longoria and her
Okay.
friend, and
Oh.
so that's, yeah. So I've been drumming with them for
Oh, cool.
years. Yeah. So
Wow. Wow.
yeah,
Very cool.
yeah,
Yeah.
and then
No biggie.
and then I'm no, no.
Okay.
I'll tell you what's cool too. I'll tell you, no, 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 no. This
Yeah,
is cool too. I got to drum. I got to actually do a drum circle with the drummer of Def Leppard. So
oh, get out of here.
yeah, so that
Oh,
was
that's
neat
so
too.
awesome.
Yeah, that was
Oh my
cool. That was
gosh,
cool too.
that's
Yeah,
so cool.
yeah, yeah. So that
Oh,
was good.
I did some Def Leppard. Let me tell you. I definitely hung on to that bass for a while. Oh,
Yeah,
so funny. We're so
yeah,
aging us, right? For the younger ones.
yeah.
Okay, go ahead.
So
Um,
let me see. So then off of the Rhythmic Arts project, that was like the foundation for my Tambo Function program that I developed off of it. Okay,
right.
and that's geared towards pre-K and K, and
Oh,
for older children with special needs. And
oh,
that's, and when I do that class, again, it's been a while now since I've done it, but when I have done it, I only take 10 students,
okay.
and it's a 6-week course.
Oh, wow.
And so we work on all those social and emotional skills um, that I like to target, like taking turns, focus, attention,
Oh,
self-control,
awesome.
stress management, and so forth. And
Perfect.
so we learn our colors, we learn how to play the rhythm of our name, the syllables of our
Oh,
name. So
awesome.
it's truly a functional experience for these kids,
This is what I'm
and they're
thinking.
having fun. Yeah, and they're having
Well,
fun
it's
and they're
thinking
learning
like
at the same time.
so
So,
much time, like so much treatment for
hmm.
kids that age who have attention difficulties, self-control issues,
Hmm.
impulse control is like a top-down approach. So it's like a talk therapy where we're trying to teach them to be aware.
Hmm.
There's a lot of that right now, like top-down. So I'm always looking for like experienced self-control, like participating in actually like I all the time for those kiddos will play things like red light, green light. Do you know what I
Hmm.
mean? So you
Hmm.
have to go
Hmm.
fast, and then you have to go slow, and then you have
Right.
to go stop, and then you have to
Hmm.
do these experiential sort of activities that support regulation and self-control and impulse control. And like when you sent me that video today of what you were doing with the kids, which I'll totally share, as well as some of the videos that because I've been like snooping your page or whatever it's called, like looking at some of the stuff that you've done to prepare for this and see like what the vastness is of what you're doing. But like that idea of like experiencing self-control and practicing self-control, and then that being a platform for talking about things and creating is phenomenal for that age for kids, right?
Right.
So I love the drum for that regulation piece too. That's awesome.
Yeah, my favorite part about drumming with the young ones is when I might have a room full of kids and we're jamming away, and then when I go 4, 3, 2, 1, stop, and all of them stop at the same time,
fabulous.
And I go 1, 2, back to the groove, and they all come right back in.
Right.
That's my favorite part with them, because
90% of teachers in America would just go.
Exactly, and I've seen people go like just shocked that these kids stop.
Even you are probably like,
I'm like, that's my favorite part. I love it. I still love it. Yeah. So, so that's why I'm so glad. Slowly but surely, things are beginning to pick up in-person drumming wise, but we're still, you know how things are. We're still got to take things slow and easy now with the pandemic. So, hopefully,
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Very cool. So you're working with all ages. You're working with all populations. You're doing some virtual drumming too, aren't? Like, are you doing things that other people could get involved on?
Yes. Okay. I'm doing. As a matter of fact, the drum circle that I do with the Down Syndrome Association, which is actually coming up on Monday. Okay. It's one day a month. That's actually open to the public.
Oh, awesome!
And that's to the public wherever you're at.
Right.
So the way for people to access it, to get that link, is to contact me. They can send me a DM or whatever, and then I can send them the link for Monday's event.
Oh, that's so fabulous.
Yeah. So now
message if you're interested in that.
Yeah.
And then, are you interested in like setting up future virtual drum circles and whatnot with people, like doing other events as well, if other people are? So anybody interested in attending virtual drum circle or participating in one, just DM you? Right,
yeah. Or if they want to do a
direct message or email,
like a group one just for their group, you know, I mean, like if they want to just do one just for them,
let's talk after this too about potentially doing something together like that. Yeah. I would love to offer that to my families. Like, I own a therapy company, and I'm quite engaged in the community in St. Pete, so I would love to support that in any way that I could as well. So
awesome, thank you.
No, yeah, that's fabulous. Okay, so I'm going to get back to that a little bit more at the end too, because I want to connect a little bit more about ways that people can access you and the services that you do. But for now, let's turn to treatment. Like all of the different skills and abilities that you can target using the drum in treatment. Okay. So because I'm a brain nut, like I'm a neuro freak, want to do it from like bottom up. Okay. And I'm hoping that you'll be okay with demonstrating a little rhythm and stuff on the drum. Are you comfortable with that? You're like, what are you getting me into? Fabulous. Okay, no, you're good.
always try to come ready. Always try to prepared. So yeah, you never know.
Awesome.
You never know.
Awesome. Okay. So first off, sensory processing, right? So one of the ways that I use drumming or music, rhythm, vibration to support children is the children who are over responsive or have huge upset reactions or responses to sensory input, and they get dysregulated. So trying to calm their central nervous system. So what I'll do for those kiddos who have regulation and modulation issues is that I'll use like an earth drum in the background or a low frequency drum with a steady beat, right? So we're thinking of like metronome beats. We're thinking of like rhythmic beats that repeats itself over and over again.
Right. Okay.
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yes, I do. Yes,
do you use it as a regulation tool as well, like in terms of like calming or alerting at all? Like, have you worked in like the?
I actually had a student once that I went into the room and she was crying, and she had a history of traumatic brain injury, and she was in a life skills room, and she was crying and they did not know why. They were not sure if she was in pain. She didn't sleep. She didn't feel well. Yeah. They
Okay.
just did not know what it was. So,
For sure.
and I didn't know what it was either. So what I did is that I took my drum and I sat next to her on the floor, and I played a heartbeat sound there, and she stopped crying and she fell asleep.
I love that so
Yeah.
much, because you want to know how I use it? I'll take a kid who's like in a fight or flight response, right? Like they're really over, and I'll dim the lights. I'll put them in a swing. I'll put like a drum beat on in the background. And I use that to support getting them into a regulated state so that we can actually do treatment and therapy, right? Because you're not getting anything done when a kid's in crisis mode.
No.
So I use it to support. It's so fabulous.
Yeah.
Love
Yeah.
that.
It's awesome.
Example
And
of
also,
I'm
sorry.
with the heartbeat too, like that natural biorhythm. And
That's a grounding.
To support that is awesome.
Right. Yeah, that's grounding. A heartbeat rhythm is a very grounding rhythm, So and as a
can you
also,
demonstrate it?
Oh yeah, sure. Yeah. So, and let me see if you can.
Ask? I don't know really.
No,
Okay.
No, just a simple. I like to just go.
Awesome.
Right. So you can just play along to that. I've done classes called Health Rhythms Group Empowerment Drumming with adults. It's a research-based program that I follow, and actually I've had somebody actually fall asleep during it.
Oh, I believe it.
Yeah, and I've actually, after the class, I've had to tell people, okay, you all need to wake up. Like, you all need to wake, because you all have to drive home now. So it's like I got to get them alert.
We got to go.
Yeah.
I've had children fall asleep. Children go from like in really bad, upset places, okay? Very dysregulated to sleeping by the end of my session. Do you know what I'm saying? So yeah, I totally get it. Yeah, that's amazing that you can do that, and that you can facilitate that with vibration, rhythm, drum, frequency is awesome. So then let's talk a little bit about the opposite modulation kid. So for regulation, so like the kiddo who's not getting enough from their senses. I'm trying to keep the language accessible to everybody who's watching and interesting. So their brain needs more input in order to function optimally. So alerting the type of rhythms that are more arrhythmic, and the frequency may be a little bit higher, so maybe a different type of, do you have like a...
Yeah, so what I do
for... The rhythm changes and it's a higher intensity type of...
For self-regulation, really, it's going to end up being you increase the intensity of how you play, and also the tempo. So so you would go, like, that's more right. And then if you want to work on that self-control, really, then okay. Now let's get slow.
Right. So when we're talking, that's the next part, is actually practicing regulation, right?
Right. Yeah.
But for kids who need alerting to like wake up their arousal system too, that arrhythmic piece is just like, you can feel it. You kind of sit up a little taller.
It gets you right.
Your vestibular system is activated, and you get that little postural, and you're like, oh, what's going on? I use that sort of music all the time as well. But let's talk about regulation too. So the next piece would be regulation. So when we're thinking about sensory regulation, we're thinking about speeding up, slowing down.
Soft would be more of the common.
We're thinking these kids have more control over their ability to regulate than kids who have modulation issues, who it's more of a subcortical issue that it's happening, and we're just embracing them and guiding them. And trying to get them to a calm place or trying to get them to an alerting place, right? Whereas like a regulation kid has more access to top-down stress. So we're doing skill building, we're engaging with them, we're having them practice self-control. is what you're talking about. So this is like when we're starting out with a fast beat and then they have to slow themselves down is what you're talking about.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Yeah. Yeah.
phenomenal.
And then we'll go back and forth between the two,
You're
you know.
making me want to take one of your courses. Teach me to drum. I would totally. Like,
Yeah.
that's awesome.
Well, I do. I have trained others to do it. So to be able
You
to go
should
and
train therapists to do this. There's totally
yeah,
a place for this. You should
yeah,
totally be training therapists to do this. I would
yeah.
love. There is so much research in like interactive metronome, which we can get into, and like ILS, and like, oh my gosh, there's so many OTs and so many neuroscientists that are exploring like auditory. Not to mention like the prope and the muscle activation that comes from drumming as well. Like awesome. So many OTs would be interested in using this to support their practice and support their kids. So the next area is rhythm and timing and grading force. So this is particularly interesting for me. Obviously, like rhythm is associated with drumming and keeping a pattern and a beat, and I don't know the language. I'm just, but a lot of kids who have attention deficit hyperactivity disorder and kids who are on the spectrum, kids who have autism, have difficulty with rhythm and time. I didn't even get to motor. I skipped motor. I'm just looking at my notes. So we'll get back to that. But rhythm and timing. And it actually is correlated with self-control and your ability to pace yourself and slow down and have self-control, right? So when you're teaching a child, how do you teach an arrhythmic person, somebody who has no rhythm, like, how to play the drum? Like, is that something that you can? Is there?
Well, it depends on the. Okay, so it's more important. The process is more important than the performance. Okay, so I'm basically, when I have these kids that I play with, like for instance, I've drummed with some families in their home. Their child has ADHD and autism. So I already know, okay, so I'm not really too concerned, about this young man or this child being able to play, a smooth rhythm. Okay, I'm more
that's
concerned.
Okay,
right. That's not right. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I'm more okay. Can the child focus? Can they start and stop? When I can they start and stop? Can they follow the directions? Can they take their turn? Can they wait their turn? And so forth.
So you're more thinking about that regulation piece and controlling themselves and actually experiencing self-control and meeting a demand or expectation for attention and control, right?
Right. Exactly. So that's where it's not really what I do, unless somebody hires me to specifically teach them how to play. That's not my main goal. My main goal isn't about their performance. It's more about the context of the group and what the group can get out of it. That's why when I went into the homes, I define a group always as at least 3 people. Okay. And it could be me, it could be the child and somebody else. And that makes a group, because then that helps the dynamics of what it is that we're trying to work on.
Right.
So yeah.
Perfect. That is awesome. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
So then, like, in terms of sustained attention and keeping a beat or a rhythm for children, right? And that rhythmic piece for long periods of time. So if we're actually working with a child who you can teach a rhythm, timing, or a beat or pacing, and they are actually, and sustaining that is active attention, sustained attention, right? Over time, which is phenomenal too, because a lot of our kids are very distractible. Which is, like practicing that sustained attention and getting longer periods of time sustained attention while activating those centers in your brain is just, you're like lighting that brain up.
Yes, exactly, because that's what drumming does. Well, that's what music does. It lights up the entire
It lights
brain.
up the brain.
Yeah.
And it lights up your brain from a motivational perspective, and motivation is the best fertilizer for brain change. So if a child is engaged and motivated and enjoying what they're doing, your capacity to, or their capacity to experience brain change and growth is so much bigger than if you have resistance to the treatment that you're providing. So that is awesome in itself. Let me see, what else do I have? Sensory motor. Obviously, let's talk about asymmetrical, like symmetrical movements versus bilateral skill, like any sort of motor skills that we can be working on with the drum. Can you give different, like?
Okay, well, one of the drums that, like when somebody asks me, you know, well, what type of drum should I get for my child? Okay.
Yeah.
I,
you can talk about
I tell them, I tell them whatever, I would get a pair of bongos. You know, the two drums that go right next to each other, because that's that's the perfect drum to play for crossing midline.
Oh,
you know, and so there you go. You could do it. You know, so as a matter of fact, I have a student right now that I see virtually, and what we do is before we do our fine motor work, we start the session with drumming. And so what we do, and we use it as a proprioceptive means, number one, to get the hands awake, you know, to get ready to start to write and to color and so forth. And also, his mom was saying how he has a difficult time crossing midline. So the minute she told me that, I set it up with her where she would come and pick up a bongo. A pair of bongos. So that's how we started out. And so we'll play a little bit. We'll use both hands. You know, we'll play, and then he'll be playing. He'll be doing his thing, and then I say, okay, now cross, and then
my gosh! So you're doing like a developmental progression.
Right.
That is amazing.
And then we'll do that for like five minutes, just as a warm up, and then after that, then we'll go into writing, if we need to color or cut or do
that is so great. Like, so it's like I would call that like a primer, where you're lighting up areas in the brain that you're then going to be like applying to functional activities later.
Right.
And you're going from like symmetrical to asymmetrical. Like that's a whole developmental progression in bilateral.
Yeah. Right. Like I will let him play however he wants to at first, because I want him to enjoy what he's doing. Of course, have fun, enjoy whatever. And then we'll do. Now, and then I said, now make sure you play like this, and then switch, and then make sure we go like this, and then we go into our
so cool
fine motor work. So
that's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about like your social, because I haven't even gotten to what you love the most, from what I understand, and that is the social emotional engagement group participation piece. So can you talk a little bit more about that piece too?
Okay, so that's basically where the Tambo function really, which is the program that I developed from the Rhythmic Arts Project, is where I really focused on just this social emotional skill building, and I've used and when I've done that class, I like to keep it at 10 kids max, because then that way I can, number one, we can work on more things, and I can give the kids more attention. Yeah. But and at the same time, their parents stay with them as well.
Oh, that's a great group. I've done so many groups, man, and it's been a go. And it's been having parents with them to support them is key.
And the parents get to play as well. And the parents get to play as well.
Fabulous.
So everybody gets to play, Yeah. So we'll go around, and like a sample group would be, we go around, and we one by one we have to wait our turn. So again, taking turns, we will play our name. Okay, we'll play the syllables of our name, and then everybody plays your name back to you. And so we go one by one, and then like I might start playing, okay, and then I'll call out, and then I'll say, when I call your name, you play, and you continue playing. So then that right there is self-control, impulse control, being able to focus. So they have to wait till, and they're just waiting, but they have to wait till when I call their name until they start playing. And so we build upon each other's groove until we all come together into one.
Fabulous.
So, and then I purposely, when I've done those groups, I do not give them all drums. I give every other person a drum, and the others get shakers, because what I want them to do is I want them to work on their sharing skills. So what I do is halfway when we are done, I mean halfway through the session, then I make them switch.
Oh, cool.
So they
So
have to,
cool.
yeah.
Yeah, the
So
experience like that. That is awesome.
yeah.
I think the whole idea of OT, right, and enabling occupation, participation, and success, and like the flow theory, like active engagement in an activity and how powerful and meaningful that is. You're taking it to a group level, a community level. So OT in so many aspects, right?
Yes. I mean,
because you're
and
skill building within occupation, and one that's motivating and meaningful and purposeful to the child. And that, in fact, is the essence of what our profession's about, right?
Right, because we're building on occupations, okay, which will be, of course, play, social participation. Also, the drum can also be used for a way to communicate, but in a nonverbal way. Okay. And then the other thing would be also it helps with health management and maintenance, of course, because they're just getting a workout, like you wouldn't believe. I mean, they get tired, which I can see them getting tired. I'm like, that's good. Keep on going.
Like,
don't stop. And then,
like, are they sweating and getting breathy? Like, is
some
it a
of them,
cardio
some of them do. Oh yes, some of them do.
Kids do, right? Because they don't get access to a lot of physical activity.
Right,
and then
Some of
that's
them
a whole other area of neuroplasticity, because you're accessing that BDNF, like it's a fertilizer for your brain, exercise and cardiovascular. That's awesome. There's another bonus.
Yeah. So then, and also when you think about how the drumming can also support other occupations like rest and sleep.
Yes.
Because you get your workout, so it's supporting an occupation as well. Because, and I really have seen, really when it comes to the, what I've been told. I was once stopped at a store by one of my former students, not so much with that particular group set, but with adults that I did it with, and she actually told me that she was sleeping better at night. She was actually and then with one of the programs that I do, when I talk about the communication part, I might post a question or ask the group what they feel about this, or what are their thoughts about this, and then they each have a turn to go around and they play the answer without using any words, because sometimes people may want to share, or should I say express what they're feeling, but they don't want to use any words, and that's okay.
That is so awesome.
So they'll go ahead and they'll drum it out. Yeah.
Great. I love that.
Yeah. And that's done with the health rhythms group empowerment drumming, and that's actually research based, and I'm trained in that. So.
Well, I'm thinking about like regulation and biorhythms as well. And like when you experience, if your central nervous system is in a regulated space for longer times, your rest and sleep are more accessible to you. So when you're in a heightened state all the time, you have a more difficult time accessing sleep and rest. And that's where a lot of brain work happens and a lot of our growth happens in sleep. So this is another thing that I wanted to say about the drum and the motivation and the buy-in from children and just right experiences is that I love about the drum. And it's that, say, if you get a child's buy-in, right, and you make a just right challenge for a child and they actually find it rewarding, meaningful, and purposeful, not only are they accessing that neuroplastic space when they're with you, the potential for brain change, growth, accessing occupation, rhythm development, sensory processing module, all these things that we talked about when they're with you. But then when you're not with them, they're going to pick up a drum, they're going to use a set of pencils, they're going to do whatever they have. So that extends outside of direct treatment. And in my opinion, that's the sweet spot. Like if you can do that as a therapist,
yes,
if you can find an activity that works on skill building, engagement, brain growth, that they want to participate in when you're not with them,
outside of you, right?
You're going miles. You're generalizing that to areas outside. Like that is a big obstacle to treatment. Is frequency,
Right.
intensity, duration. How often are they getting access to it? So I love that about the drum and using that in treatment. Awesome. Do you have any success stories that you want to share? Like particular success stories that you want to share?
Okay, well, I shared one already with the girl that was crying. She fell asleep. That's one. And then there was another young man. He was 17 years old, I believe, and he was coming to the class, and his brother was driving him every week. So at the end of the 6 weeks, so this young man, he had autism, and so his brother would bring him to the class every week. So at the end of the 6 weeks, I would ask the group, them, okay, so how do you feel this class has helped your loved one? You know, what have you seen, changes, whatever, you know. So they would fill out a form for me, you know, kind of like just a feedback form, you know.
Yeah, that's fabulous.
And then so this brother said that he felt that because of his the drumming, that his brother with autism was less socially awkward.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. That's how he described him. Yeah.
Is that what
that's
he said?
exactly
Those
right.
were specific words. Like that's what he wrote.
That's as far as I remember. Less socially awkward.
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I was like, oh man. I mean, that was like
he drumming
awesome.
In groups? Was it a social emotional experience that he was having, or do you think it was like that?
I'm thinking the overall skills of he never told me exactly what it was that helped him.
A variety of reasons.
Yeah, but I think just the fact of him learning social emotional skills, he obviously was able to take something from there to apply it in the real world with his brother and around them. Right. So, so that was awesome. That was one. And then there was this other young man with autism. I went into a classroom and I drummed with the entire class because whether the student is receiving OT or not, I will involve the whole classroom. You know, I'm not just going to take, you know, my kids who are OT and then leave the other kids there. Yeah. I mean, that would not be cool. You know, that would not be cool. So they all played drums. I gave them all a drum, and so we all played and everything. So when I was done, you know, they gave me their drums. I picked up the drums, started to put it away. And this young man with autism, he came up and on his own, he hugged me, right? And I was like, oh, okay, that's cool. Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. But the teacher, she was in shock. She was in awe. She was like, George, do you know what just happened? And I said, no, what just happened? She said, he doesn't like men.
Oh.
He is standoffish towards men. And I was like, what?
So interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, limbic, yeah, definitely.
And he just, of his own accord, he initiated the hug.
That's awesome. So you both feel in him of like trust and
so obviously, you know,
I love that. I think
we built that connection through the rhythm.
Yeah.
He felt it was a safe space for him.
Yes.
He felt I was safe with him for him. I
love that
and
so
he did
much
that.
In treatment. When I get that, I see that happening with a kid where they go from a place where they're standoffish or they're scared and then all of a sudden you have this moment where you're like, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. Yeah, so it worked out great. Yeah. Yeah.
That's awesome. That's so good. And it's so great for them to have those experiences and positive relationships with people too and feel safety and security, right? Amazing that rhythm, vibration, the drum can evoke that in kids. Let me see what we have here. Success stories. Any other success stories for now, or?
Not so much with kids, but I do have one with a friend of mine that she believed that that the um the drumming was a key component in regards to her cancer treatment.
Oh, wow. How?
Yeah, she said it calmed her down, and at the same time, it did give her, it did, how does she put it? She says calming, soothing, the energizing effect of it, all of
Oh,
that
gosh.
together, you
Yeah.
know.
I
Plus, I
use,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, when we look at one of the things to consider about with drumming is that when you drum, especially when you do more impactful drumming,
Yeah.
more intense drumming, okay,
Yeah.
um, that that releases your body's endorphins,
Yes.
which is our feel good
Yes.
chemicals. So, at endorphins, what they do is they not only give us our feeling of euphoria and calmness, if we're feeling high, so to speak, they also help to regulate pain, and
Yes.
endorphins also have
Wow.
have a part to
I'm
do
so happy you
in
went here.
in our immune system as well.
They definitely do.
So
Yeah,
endorphins,
that full release, that proprioceptive piece, that,
right,
the muscle, the joint, the deep pressure from your tactile receptors,
right, right.
dopamine, serotonin, epinephrine, neurobaths all over the place, I can imagine in drumming,
Right. So
That's fabulous.
and somebody can do that at home. 20 minutes of intense drumming, will get those endorphins up.
That's
And so
fabulous.
yeah, and also and on the reverse of that is if you want to increase again alpha brain waves, okay, which also help with calming, okay. If you
Sleep,
play if you play for like 20
transitioning to rest.
20
Sorry.
to 30 20 to
Yeah.
30 minutes, that's okay. 20 to 30 minutes of playing a drum at 60 beats per minute can help you when it comes to increasing alpha brainwaves. And I actually sent you that video
You did.
today.
I listened to it. It was
Yeah,
fabulous.
yeah, yeah.
And I honestly was listening to it and I'm like, I can't, like, I have to work. Like, I'm just
Right,
like,
because I sent that
I
video to my friend once while we
right.
were on the phone, and she said, I have to get off this video because I'm falling asleep.
No, seriously. I
Yeah, yeah,
100%, yeah, I agree
yeah.
with that.
So yes,
Totally.
so somebody can just get a hold of that video I sent you. If they go to TamboRhythms on YouTube,
Okay, TamboRhythms on
rhythms
YouTube.
on, yeah,
There's a
okay,
variety of videos on there of
yeah.
accurate ways.
So
That's
I have that one there, and if you want to relax and just you can
amazing.
play it, you can just
Yeah,
play it and lay down, or you
yeah,
can play along to it. So
yeah.
yeah,
Um, and then, like, I know that mental health and mental health awareness is very important to you,
yes,
and near and dear to your heart. So,
extremely.
can you explain, like, while we're here, we're talking about endorphin releases. We're
Okay,
talking about, can you speak to that a little bit for us, please, Jorge?
okay, yes. Well, it is extremely important to me because I live with anxiety, depression, and OCD, and possibly bipolar type 2. So
Okay.
it is very near to me when it comes to um, helping those that might may find some type of healing or some type of rest in using rhythm. Um, I've drummed with there's the depression and bipolar support group here in town that I've drummed with
Oh
a
my
few
gosh, it's
times,
phenomenal.
and it's helped. Someone once said it helped them with their anxiety. It helped them
How does it help
with
you
their
particularly, though? Like, how does it help
oh
you manage your
with
anxiety?
me, okay,
Yeah,
with me,
yeah,
the
your
best thing
personal
about it,
experience.
that the two things that I see that helps me the most with drumming is that, and not just with me, this is just it works with with us all groups, is that it gets you in the moment. You stay in the
Totally.
present time, and that's all I care about right now.
Mindfulness.
I'm not worried about what happened yesterday, or I'm not concerned about what's going on tomorrow.
Exactly.
So when I stay focused in the moment, okay,
You're not
then
perseverating, you're not
I'm not,
ruminating,
there's no,
your
right,
thoughts
I'm
aren't
not
taking control of your
anxious,
behaviors.
right,
Your
I'm not
behaviors
anxious,
taking control of your mind,
right,
which is a completely right.
right.
That's
So that's
phenomenal. Yeah.
one, that's how I think it's helped me the most. That, and also after I drum, it gives me like I could drum for a while, and then I could go and I can go put in a load in the wash, go
Right.
clean.
So the
It
learning
just
gives this extra, it's
the
got a
energy
learning
just
piece.
yes,
Totally.
yes, yeah. The thing with that doesn't work with me though, and it does with and it has worked with some others, is that like how you I cannot fall asleep to drumming music. Really, I can't
Because it activates too
because
much of
I'm
your
a
brain,
drummer.
it excites you.
It doesn't work on me. Yeah, yeah.
That's awesome. Right?
Yeah,
Yeah, because
yeah.
it
I
has
can
a different
relax to it.
experience for
Right,
you. There's different
right,
endorphins being released.
right. I can lay down and enjoy it,
Yeah.
but not so
You
much as
can't
to
shut your
actually
brain off.
play it and shut my brain off. No,
That's interesting.
because my mind is it's just going too much with the drumming. But and I think also no, not I think I know
Yeah.
the whole idea about not just being being in that space and time. It's not just about that. I think also when you are with other people, okay, I think that also is a healing component of because you get when you connect with others, especially others that are dealing with the same things that you're dealing with. You
So
know
do we.
that then that's just a way that you don't feel
Humans are
so
communal creatures.
so alone.
Yes.
You don't feel alone, and
Isolated. Yes.
yeah. So
I can't
that's when
think.
I feel like I'm it's weird to say that's kind of like when I drum in a group. It's like I go into like a
Trance.
my world shifts. Just my
Right.
everything just shifts. I'm in another state of mind. Like even if I felt bad that day, even if I was tired that day, uh, I can go and it just once I get started, boom. It's
Wow.
just yeah.
You want to
It
talk
just
about a regulation tool, right? And you talk about like this is a personal experience that you're reporting in terms
oh
of
yeah
like
oh yeah
happening
yeah.
on your own. Like,
Yeah, so I think this past year has been harder on me. Well, hard on all of
oh,
us, But I know it's
yeah,
affected me because I'm just not. e- Even though virtual has opened up doors,
right.
it's just not the same as just being
The power of
with
that connection.
people. Yeah,
And being in the
yeah.
room and feeling the rhythm and the vibration, it must be really powerful just to experience the drum with that much power.
And then with the entrainment, when you all get locked into a
It's a
rhythm,
different
and
train, whole other.
you just are locked into each other, and you're just truly going with the flow. It's like you get lost in
That's,
there,
oh my
and
goodness.
that's a place of rest. That's a place of escape. So,
Right. That's fabulous.
yeah.
I can't thank you enough for sharing that. Like the
Okay.
for mental health awareness and for people, how powerful it is that you shared your own experience in this interview, and just validates like how common mental health issues are in America.
Oh
And
yes.
just thank you so much for being brave enough and being transparent enough to bring that and share that with our community.
Right.
Again,
Right. Right. Well,
yeah.
that's one of the things that I'm trying to also be more open about. I became
Well, good
more
for you.
open about it.
Yeah.
Saying,
There's
what,
so much stigma and shame associated with
right,
it, and it's a
mhm,
massive
right,
generalized issue,
and some people
and
may not see
such
it.
poor support services in America.
Right. Some people may not um, see it in the same way. Like if you had a, a heart attack or heart disease, or if you
Mm.
have diabetic, if you're a diabetic, they see that as maybe a real issue. But then if
Yeah.
you say, I suffer from depression, anxiety, OCD, bipolar, some people just don't understand, or they may think, just snap out of it,
Oh, right, totally. Pull
and
yourself together.
yeah,
But yeah,
and some people mean well. they and I know they mean well, but it's that's just not how it works. I mean, I'm
But
sorry,
I
you know.
also like that just the stigma associated with those words and the
Hmm.
negativity associated
Hmm.
with it. There's just a lot of fear, I think, in um, divulging that and being, you know, feeling safe and talking about that experience. So thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome. You're welcome.
Um, uh, so let's talk a little bit more about what you're offering, what you would like to do, how they can access services, and then we'll talk about the giveaways.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
again, when it comes to if you want to be part of a more of a public community type of circle, okay, that happens with the Down Syndrome Association. So again, contact me, um, and then I will give you that Zoom link. You know,
Okay.
I don't put the Zoom link out there. You know, I'll
No, I
send it
get
to
it.
you.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Perfect.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then
So just direct message you for all of
yes,
these things on Instagram or Facebook.
yes.
Yeah.
And for on Facebook, it's the TamboRhythms group. Okay,
Okay.
it's not the TamboRhythms page. Okay, it's
Okay.
TamboRhythms group. So
Okay.
for those
Perfect.
of you that do it,
Okay.
okay, and then and if you want something for your own family, for your own group, same thing.
Or if
Or
you're a therapist and you have a clinic and you're interested in doing something that's led by you,
right, we right,
if you
they
have a
can do that.
child, if you let, yeah, like
Yeah. Also, I do have a
a
freebie.
school.
A free, yeah. Oh, yeah. I've drummed at. Oh boy, so
Oh,
many schools. Yeah, yeah. So
amazing.
that's yeah. And also with when I'm beginning to get more into training, so one-on-one
Right.
training for therapists, or if some parents want to be doing this with their children as well. You know,
Right.
I could train them as well. So that's the other option is if you would like to, you know,
That's
go
great.
that route.
Yeah.
Um,
So, yeah.
yeah, so I mean, there's so many different. I try to tailor the drumming to the specific needs that that the client has and everything. So,
There's
you know,
homeschoolers.
and as a matter, in the morning, I'm doing one. I'm going to be speaking with Sarah
So I
Collins.
think there's
She,
so
yeah,
if
yeah.
you do you post things about this on like homeschool communities and Facebook accounts and
I
whatnot?
I am
Homeschool
starting to.
continuously looking for things that their children can engage in. You
Yeah,
should totally.
yeah, yeah. I'm starting to, you know, trying to branch out there,
Oh, you
especially
should.
now that just the way that the world is right now. You know, this is
Oh,
how
I
we
know.
have to do. This is the way we're going to have to do things
Hmm.
for a while. You know,
Yeah,
so
definitely.
yeah. So
Perfect.
hmm
So, okay. So, as you know, we've discussed this before. My family is actually Indigenous, Native
hmm
American. So my husband is Native American, my daughter's Native American, and my father-in-law is Native American. And he is actually an award-winning Native American author. And when I told him that we were doing this interview tonight, because Native Americans have embraced and empowered the power of healing of the drum from a spiritual perspective
hmm
for like forever,
yeah.
right?
hmm
So there's also a spiritual component for people in association with the drum, and I don't want to overlook that because this is a mental health or a healthcare profession, and there's a science base to this. Like there's a massive spiritual component to drumming as well. And my father-in-law was so excited that we were bringing attention to the drum and we were talking about the drum and how it's used in therapy that he wanted to donate an autographed signed book that he wrote called Spirit Drumming, a guide to the healing power of the drum. It's fabulous. If that's something that you're interested in, if you're interested in spirituality and Native American spirituality, drumming, and other healing properties, traditional medicines, this is a great book for you. So sign up for the giveaway. I'm going to do a giveaway. I'll post it tomorrow. There'll be some rules attached. Please, please, please sign up for it. It's a great read. I'll send you whoever gets their name drawn into the giveaway, I'll send you a autographed copy of the book. He would be so happy to be a part of that. Now tell a little bit about the giveaways that you're doing as well.
Okay, so Toca Percussion, I endorse that company, and they have donated. They will give away one free pair of bongos. Okay,
oh, awesome.
So all you have to do is just message me your email address, and if you're chosen, then I will send you an email. I will send you an email May the 1st, which is because this is going to go on throughout OT month. Okay, so if you're chosen, I will contact you. And then another company that I work with as well is and so sorry. Oh,
is it Earth
that's
Maidens?
right. Yes, earthmaidens.com. Oh, there's others. Okay, so earthmaidens.com. Okay, they
oh, I know.
yeah, okay. They have they will give away an elk frame drum.
That's awesome.
That's painted. Okay.
Awesome.
So again, you just need to send me your email. Okay. And there's one more that I actually will be posting tomorrow. I'm glad it's a darbuka, which is a Middle Eastern type drum, and that's by a company known as Enso Music. So they have decided.
I don't even know what that drum looks like.
I know. I don't have one. Mine isn't here. Mine's in the other room. But yes, so they're giving away a darbuka as well. So you have actually three I forgot about that one. I just remembered now because I haven't. The post isn't out yet, but that post is going to be going out tomorrow. So the darbuka, Middle Eastern drum that you kind of hold on the side, and then you use your fingers with it. I don't know how to play it, but it's a nice little drum. So there's 3 drums that are going to be given away.
So cool.
Yeah. So yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. This was enjoyable.
Do you have any music, just before you leave? Do you know of any like instrumental music done by Native Americans and like drum related? Like, do you listen to music as well that's drumming, or do you use? Because I'm really invested in like finding some like some of the CDs that I'm using right now in treatment are rooted in Native American drumming, but they're not made by Indigenous people. And if I could, obviously, I would like to access or support the Indigenous community in embracing their culture and their roots, right? Yeah. So if you know of any soundtrack, I don't even know what you would call it, albums, or if anybody is watching this and knows of anything that they listen to that's more instrumental and doesn't have a lot of words to it, I would love to know about it. Hi, this is my... Hi. Oh, that's awesome. She said, this is my cousin actually runs an Indigenous Learning Center in Edmonton, Canada. So she just wrote on the bottom there that she is excited to try some of this with her kiddos. It's new. She's just started this adventure. She's worked in Head Start. So I'm
glad you mentioned Head Start, because for a year and a half, I actually worked for Head Start. I left between the two. So I worked in one district like 9 years. I left for a year and a half, and before I came to this one. So in a year and a half, I worked for Head Start. We worked on more like for the mental health needs of the kids in Head Start. So I was able to drum with 5,000 kids in that year and a half. So I actually went to all the Head Start centers around the city. I think I went to like 60 of them.
Oh my gosh, so cool!
So that
awesome.
Yeah,
cool.
So that was neat. That was neat to do that. So.
Oh, well, this has been a pleasure.
Thank you so much for having me.
Enjoy this. I am so happy that we're kicking off OT month with this interview. I'm going to be doing a few more interviews, and like if you guys were interested in this and enjoyed this interview, stay tuned. I'm going to be doing some more interviews. Again, don't forget about the giveaways. Go to TamboRhythms group on Facebook.
On Facebook, yeah, on Facebook.
Center, okay.
Yeah, or tomorrow morning, look for the darbuka drum.
Oh yeah.
I'll be posting that tomorrow morning.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I'm gonna look for it.
Yeah. So yeah, sign up for it. Yeah.
Okay. And then Gabriel Horn, White Year of Autumn, Spirit Drumming, A Guide to the Healing Power of Rhythm. Great book. I'm gonna post that giveaway tomorrow as well. It'll be autographed. And if you're interested in Native American spirituality, enjoy. Thank you so much. Like I said, it's been a pleasure, and I'm so happy that we did this. Excellent. I think this was an excellent. I really enjoyed this.
Did you want to close out with a rhythm real quick?
Yes.
Okay, let's close out with the rhythm. Yes. So for those of you on, just come on, and what I want you to do is I want you to just allow yourself to just feel the rhythm before you start playing. Okay, and you don't have to play what I play. You just add your own piece to it. Okay, and just see how you feel about it. So I'm gonna start playing, and you add your component to it. Again, you do not have to play it the way I play it. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Here we go.
Thank you so much.
All right. Thank you for having me. All right. Take care. Bye-bye.
Awesome. Thank you
Bye,
so
everyone.
much. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone who came.